Okay. So now, as I told you that we are going to have a platform called NetBeans for your practical sessions, and there you require a servers. And why we need a servers, this we discussed already in the last lecture, that there will be a client server architecture we are going to follow. Okay, and there are a number of technologies we have studied where it was a server side technology, and also there were some client side technologies. So we are going to have something called as request response architecture whenever we are going to perform the practical. So now we know how to have the client side, technologies, how we are going to use that, and how we are going to develop our client side interfaces. But to communicate with our databases, with our servers, we need something. Okay, so now what we are going to have, we are going to have a servers. So you have two options in your syllabus. One is your Glassfish server, one is your Apache Tomcat. Now we are going to learn both the thing, and in a very first thing what I'm going to tell you, that we are going to use Glassfish server. Even though it is a heavy weighted comparatively your Apache Tomcat, but still we are going to use this. Why? That I'm going to differentiate at the end of this chapter. Okay, so first of all, we'll just start with this Glassfish server. Now, what do you mean by Glassfish server? So it is basically is going to work like a server in your platform, and it is an open source application server, so which you can directly download it very easily. There's no need of license you need. And this was also a project being started by Sun Microsystem. So we know that Java was one of the product which was being launched by Sun Microsystem in the initial of 90s. And there was a server which was Glassfish, also been started by the Sun Microsystem. Why they have started? Because first of all, they started with the standard editions where there was no requirement of the servers. Like we did the basic core practicals in your S5. So there we didn't had any type of servers to be linked with your programs. So what we are going to do now in enterprise Java, we are going to have a client server architecture. So we need a server, and we are going to use an enterprise edition to do that of your Java. So for that need, when we require a web applications to be developed, which is going to follow a particular architecture or a model, for that need we need a server called something a Glassfish server. You have number of servers in the market, you can use it anything, but as per your syllabus demands and your syllabus is mentioning, we are using Glassfish server. So Sun Microsystem has started this project just for the enterprise edition platforms, where you can have an option to develop your web application. So previously it was been sponsored by the Oracle Corporation, but now it is actually living with the Eclipse Foundation, and it is also been supported by the Payara, Oracle, and Red Hat. So the supported version under the Oracle was called Oracle Glassfish Server. So till the time the server was being, supporting by the Oracle, it was been known as Oracle Glassfish Server. But now you have to understand that it is under the Eclipse Foundation. Okay. So why we require a Glassfish server? As I told you that it is very much easily managing the enterprise edition applications. And if I can give you an example for that, say Java EE servers are sometimes also called as application servers. Okay, so enterprise edition servers which we have, they are something also been known as application servers. And when we talk about these terms, we can easily take an example. Say for example, I want to serve the number of web pages through the web browser to my clients. Okay, why I wanted to do that? Because I want to serve the application data to my clients. So what you can do is you can use the application server or an enterprise edition server. Either of the name you can call to these Java EE servers. So either EE servers or application servers are being used. Why it is being used? To serve an application data which client is requesting from the server, and that is being served by your web servers in the form of web pages to your client through the interfaces like your web browser. Okay, now something this is you're going to get to perform a practice. Right now I'm not giving any type of interfaces to you. You just have to understand this particular picture, where you are going to get at one point where you have to mention the server which you want to use it in your practical. So either you can select from the drop down Glassfish server, or you can use the Tomcat server. Okay, and if you'll see, exactly below that server, you have a Java Enterprise Edition version. So right now we can see that there are three versions which are being supported. So that is 5, 6, and 7. So what we are going to have, we are going to have an Enterprise Edition 7 because that is your demand of your syllabus. Okay. So now what are the features of your Glassfish server? The very first is what your enterprise features. It is going to support the scalability and a high availability data integrity. So we know what scalability is. Last lecture we saw this. What do you mean by high availability now? So for example, my server is not, is down for some time. So get into the normal and start, serving to the client. So that time period is something being considered as a high availability. How much minimum time you are going to take to serve your client back, that is something been known as your high availability. What is the next feature you're going to have? It is going to offer you the latest functionalities and add-ons. The number of times you're going to have an updation of this server, you're going to have a more functionalities and add-ons. Next feature, it is saying that it is supporting lightweight web tier. That means it is supporting or providing the lightweight deployment platform. Okay. It is also supporting the dynamic languages with reliable performances. So it is not a language bounded. It can have you an option of dynamic language support. It is also very easy to use the administration console. It is very user friendly. When we are going to do the practical, you will be understanding, and you don't even have to even go for the practical. Like after this lecture or after all the lectures today, you can simply sit and just download the Glassfish server. You can easily understand. It is very user friendly and is giving a very user friendly interfaces to interact with. Okay, next feature is what? Rapid development technology or deployment technology. It is going to give you a very simplified, option to edit your code. You can have a very simplified way to save without any loss of application state. Any data without loss, you can have a very easily saving in your server. Next feature is what? Your interoperability. That means Sun and Microsoft work can interoperate easily with your security, reliability, and the high performance. So interoperability, that means you are going to have a inter-platform option. So you can, you know, it's an obvious thing that what for what purpose we are using it. It's a Java. So Java we are always been considered as what is a platform independent language. So it is also giving me an option of interoperability. We can have to any platform and it can easily interoperate with security, reliability, high performance. Now this was all about your Glassfish server. So now we are going to talk about the next one, that is your Apache Tomcat. You have an option. Again, I'm telling you can use this server. Either you can use Glassfish, either you can use Apache Tomcat. But at one point of time, when you reach to your practicals, this Apache Tomcat is not going to be supportable for some enterprise edition technologies. So that's why Glassfish server is built specifically for all the enterprise edition technologies. Apache has been having this server Tomcat for few technologies which is going to be supportable. Okay, so now we just understand what Apache Tomcat is. It is nothing but it is an open source Java servlet container where you have an option to implement all your Java code, all your Java specifications. We can have an example like your Java servlet and JSP. So we know this what Java servlet and JSP we studied last time. So Java servlet is also again a Java program, a small modules which you can write it for your server side. And JSP is again a server side language, server side technology which you can use it. The only difference between servlet and JSP is JSP is having an inbuilt tag libraries that we studied, that is JSTL. What was the advantage of that? When we talk about servlet, we have to write some client application separately, but for JSP, you can have an inbuilt Java code inside your tags. So we have a JSP tags, you can write the Java code inside the JSP tags also, that you are going to have an advantage. Now, an Apache Software Foundation project that was your Tomcat was released in the 1998, just 4 years after your Java itself. So till 4 years, we were just working with the standard edition. And once we started with the enterprise edition in the second version of your Java, when we, started developing the applications, so the organization has now, they have to come with something where we are going to have one particular client server model. So where to scale your one level up, having this application. Now, what kind of server is Tomcat? So basically, we can say in three ways. A Tomcat is also been known as servlet container. Why it is been known as servlet container? Because it is giving you an option to implement all your Java servlet specification or a code which you can use primarily for hosting the Java servlets. Okay. Second part is what we can say that it is also a web server which is going to which is designed in such a way that it is going to serve you a file from the local system. Thirdly, it is said that Java Enterprise Application Server, it is also been known as Java Enterprise Application Server, and nowadays it is being known as Jakarta Edition, Enterprise Edition specification. So you can either say Java EE or you can say Jakarta EE. It is one and the same. Okay, so in just an brief, what we can say that Tomcat is nothing but it is a servlet and a JSP container, because it is going to have two technologies which is going to be supportable, and you can have an easily the specifications of servlet and JSP into Tomcat. Now Java servlet is going to encapsulate your code. It is going to hide your code and the business logic, and it is also going to help you to define the request and response which is going to be handled by your Java server. So again, why we are using the server, we know that it is going to help you for request and response for a client server architecture. Okay, so here the Tomcat is going to help you to hide your data to your code, to your business logic. Also it is going to help you to have that request response with your server, Java server. Okay, as we know that JSP is also a server-side technology, and it is also helping, Tomcat is also helping to have a JSP specification or a code into your container. As a developer, you can write the servlet or JSP page and then let the Tomcat handle the routing. So what is your task as a developer? You just have to write the specification, write the code of your servlet and JSP. Once you execute it, it's all the part of your server which is going to handle it, how it is going to route from the client to the server or from server to the client. The request and response is all been handled by your servers, so you don't have to worry about that part. Okay, so now the very much we have to understand here, the Apache Tomcat latest version is right now is 10, and it is going to be supported. You need a JDK 8 or a later versions for that if you want to have an Apache Tomcat version 10. And if you want to have a ninth version, you can have again the JDK 8 and later the lower versions are not going to be supportable. But if you're using the Tomcat version of 8.5, you can have the 7 and above supported versions of Java. So like that way, the rest versions has been written over there. Nowadays, the sixth version, third to sixth version is all archived. So people are not been using much. So you can use either 8, 9 or 10 as per your convenience. So we are going to use JDK 8. So you are allowed to use the latest version also of Apache Tomcat server. Okay, so we'll just see the difference. I think this is the last, we are going to study in this chapter, and then I'm going to start the revision from the very first slide. Just we are going to go through with this, and if you have any question, you can ask me in between also. So we have two servers, as we know that, Tomcat and Glassfish. So why we are using the Glassfish, that I'll first clear to you. So we have studied number of web application technologies in the last lecture. We have also studied about the enterprise application technologies also in the last lecture. So almost around more than 10 technologies we have, which we are going to study. And some web application technologies are being easily, getting executed with the help of your Tomcat server. But the enterprise application technologies like your EJB, Hibernate, so these all things are being not easily going to be done with your Tomcat. So we need a Glassfish, because a Glassfish was exclusively made for the enterprise edition technologies. Okay. Again, second point, what they're saying, Tomcat is a lightweight programming, no doubt, as comparatively your Glassfish, because Glassfish is also supporting some heavy weighted technologies. So that's why it is also been known as heavy weighted programming. Tomcat is going to have an easier administration comparatively to Glassfish because it is complicated. Tomcat is going to provide you a lighter weight footprint where compared to your Glassfish, but it is going to have a heavier weight footprint compared to your Tomcat. Okay, it uses Apache license, your Tomcat server, and Glassfish is having a license under CDDL and GPL. Now, what do you mean by CDDL and GPL? CDDL is something we known as Common Development and Distribution License. Okay, this is a free and open source software license, so you don't have to pay anything about it, and it was produced by your Sun Microsystem. And what do you mean by GPL? That is something JNU General Public License, and it is again a free software licenses which gives you a guarantee that end users are going to have all the freedom to run, study, share, and modify the software. And last point, what they're saying about the Tomcat server, that it has the memory requirement of 60 to 70 MB, but your Glassfish is going to have a requirement of more than 100 MB. Is it because it is using the Java Enterprise Edition? Okay, and that Enterprise Edition technologies which we are is a heavy weighted program, is a heavy weighted scripting which we are going to use. So it needs that much of memory also to get it executed. Okay, so this was your difference between Tomcat and Glassfish. So this is some questions I have just written from your chapter, which are the every possible question you can get it from this chapter. I think there are almost 6 questions you have. Now, before I start with the revision from the very first slide, and if you have any question regarding what we studied today, you can ask me. And in the next lecture, okay, so you all have to pay attention over here that we have 6 questions. So you have to study all these 6 questions. I am giving you the notes also. I've already uploaded. I'll share the link with you. Just study that questions, and that question I'm going to ask you in the next lecture. Okay, and randomly I can call anyone from the participant list, and you have to answer. Okay. So now we are going to go to the very first slide.
Audible.
Let's see the quick revision. Till now, am I clear with you all? Like, if you have any doubt, you can post it in the chat so that I can see, like, if you have any question, any query. Okay, so my audio is not clear. You are all saying that. Is it clear now? Like, I feel that I'm almost taking the headphone to my. I'm just putting it
No, ma'am.
very closely. So, is it not clear now also?
No, ma'am. Actually, it is sounding like an echo.
Just wait. Am I audible to you all?
Yeah, it's now.
Okay. So I think if something happens like this, now students, please you can unmute and you can tell me, because the thing is that I am sharing the screen and I'm not having the chat box in front of me. So if you'll just unmute and clear me, and it will be like really great. Okay. So I don't know how much you have now heard about what I have said, but we'll have a quick revision and let's see if you can understand what we have studied today also. Okay. So we started with the chapter 1 where we have studied about the additions. We said that it is a something known as a versions. We had the examples also. I have given one example. You have to remember that. So that can be the total number of copies of your book, of your newspapers, of the published materials. That can be something known as additions. If every year I am updating something into my software, that will be considered as a new version. Okay. So we also had the look into the history. It was started in the year 1995, and I told you that it is the 14th version, which is the latest and the updated one of your JDK. Also, we went to the enterprise edition, and what do you mean by the enterprise edition? It is nothing but the extension of your standard edition with some new features and the specification to your this particular edition, such as your distributed computing and the web services. Now, when we talk about the J2EE, that is something been known as what? The second version of your Java, and it was been introduced in your second version of your Java, that is your enterprise edition. That's why it is termed as J2EE. And nowadays it is also been known as Jakarta EE, that is Jakarta Enterprise Edition. And J2EE is, but obvious, is a platform independent technology because your Java is itself a platform independent. And why we say that it is a platform independent, we will see in the further slide, the JVM concept. Okay, so J2EE platform is having the number of set of services, number of APIs and the protocols, which is going to help you to develop the application, web-based applications. We also studied about the history. So it was been started in the version 1.2. So that's why it has been termed as J2EE. But when it reached to the Java version Enterprise Edition fifth version. So now it was been renamed. It was not been anymore been called as J2EE. It was directly been said as Java EE 5, Java EE 6, like that way. So we have a version Java EE 8, but we are studying Java EE 7 in your syllabus. So we had three Java editions. First is your standard edition, then we have a micro edition, and we have an enterprise edition. So we have seen one by one all the thing. First was your Java standard edition. Whenever we say that it is a Java or a Java programming language, we are referring to the standard edition because it will help us to develop or run some desktop machine applications. It is also been used to create many standalone console desktop GUIs, you know, and we have seen this also where you can have an application in your desktop programming. There are famous examples you can take for an programming, that is a Minecraft client. These are all the programming, these are all the gaming applications which was been developed using these standard editions. And you can have for big data applications, you can have for applets. So these are all being used for the standard edition. When you talk about the micro edition, I told you that micro edition was been there in the picture before the iOS and Android was there in the market. So we have to, if you want to have some applications to your mobile phones, we were using this Java ME. But as soon as the iOS and Android has overtaken the market, the micro edition is no more now playing a major role in the market. So these are some few applications we can have, that is cell phone applications, embedded applications, but this was all the application which was being used in the previous mobile phones, where you had that BlackBerry and the phones like Nokia, where it was just initially started with their Android. So they were using the ME. Now it is not being more used. So we just came across with the third edition, that is a Java Enterprise Edition. And it was, I told you, that was built upon your standard edition. So your core Java was your standard edition, your enterprise Java is a enterprise edition. You should know the standard edition, it is carrying forward into your enterprise edition. So it's not like that if you don't have any basic knowledge of core Java and you can directly start with your enterprise Java, it's not going to happen. So enterprise edition is including all the features of SE, including all the new add-ons and the features and the APIs into its packages. Now it is enterprise edition is going to usually run inside your JVM. So we know that what JVM is all about. It's an abstract machine where you're going to have a runtime environment, okay, where you have an option to convert your bytecode and you can actually execute this bytecode. And we had one diagram where I have told you that we are going to have a Java code which is going to be converted into your bytecode using your compiler. Okay, and that bytecode is going to be executed by your JVM in a different platform. That's why it is said that it's a platform independent. And we have also seen some applications for that in your enterprise editions. Why J2EE has been known J2EE, that we also know that it has been introduced in your second version. That's why it is known as J2EE. Okay. And we have also seen the architecture of your enterprise application. I told you that architecture of an enterprise application is a 4-tier architecture. Tier is nothing but the layers. How many layers you require for having your enterprise application? You need 4 layers. That is your client tier, web tier, business tier, and EIS tier. So we also studied about the challenges of enterprise application. We also studied about the benefits. We know what are the features of your enterprise applications. So this all we studied, you have to study and come for the next lecture where I'm going to just ask you a question based on all this. So we know what are the web application technologies. It can be your web Java servlet, it can be your JSP. And for JSP, we have an exclusive tag libraries, that is your JSTL. We have JSF, we have facelets. There is all the technologies being used for your web application. We have an enterprise application technologies also, that is your EJB, that is your JPA. What JPA, that is also we studied in the last lecture. What is JTA, JMS? This all please study and come in the next lecture. Java EE container architecture, Java mail, why we are using this all things. Okay. And today we studied about the servers, two servers, that is your Glassfish and the Tomcat. Why we are using the Glassfish over your Tomcat server in your practical, that also I told you that we have some enterprise applications like you are going to use in your practical, which is not been, getting executed in your Apache Tomcat. So we need something called as Glassfish because it is exclusively made for the Enterprise Edition platform. Okay, and we know that it was been started by the Sun Microsystem immediately after the 4 years of your Java, and it was again, sponsored by the Oracle, the way the Java was acquired by Oracle. But now it has been supported. It was been living under the foundation of Eclipse. So why we need a Glassfish server? We had an example that, for example, I need a application server, an enterprise edition server, where I expect that it should allow me to serve an application data to my client. Like if I have a web server which is going to serve the web pages using your browsers. So for that we need something called as a server in your, this model. We are going to use Java EE7. We are going to use Glassfish server. For initial practicals, like around fifth to sixth practical, you can use Apache Tomcat. If possible, we can do that also. Let's have both the servers. You can use it, and you can interact with both the things. So you'll be comfortable if you want to use it like either of this. And we also studied about the features, like what are the features we have. It can be high scale, high availability, it can be scalability. So number of features we have been getting from the Glassfish, offering the latest functionalities, add-ons, and it is supporting the dynamic languages. It is very easy to use, and it is having an interoperability. So this all we studied in detail already. And another server is what your Apache Tomcat. Why we are doing, we can use this. It is a long-lived open source Java servlet container, and but the only thing is that it is going to help you to have an execution of your Java servlet and JSP specification. Okay, so for other type of technologies you have to use a Glassfish. So what kind of a server is Tomcat? It is also been known as servlet container, web server. It can also be known as Java Enterprise Application Server. Also it is known as Jakarta Enterprise Edition specification. And we studied what is the latest version of Tomcat. It is 10th. You can have 10th version, but you need to have a JDK 8 or the later versions to support this latest edition of Tomcat. And if you want to have a 7th, JDK 7, so you can have the 8th version of your Apache Tomcat. Okay, so we have a difference between the Tomcat and Glassfish. The lastly, I told you why it is been preferred to use a Glassfish. And if I am going to use for servlet and JSP of your Apache Tomcat, I have to switch to your Glassfish, and that's why I prefer that from the starting day we should use a Glassfish, so you'll be very much comfortable with this particular Glassfish server. And lastly, I told you that there are some questions, 6 questions you have in all this in first chapter, and we revised it also, and I hope that you have understood this chapter.